Hello, welcome to Unplugged Garage. I'm Craig, and behind me I've got the Toyota Landcruiser. And it's been a minute since we've done an update on that, so I want to talk to that a little bit. We've been doing some things, we've got it in the shop, and just want to give you a little update there. So one, there's our dog, might be on camera there, but not sure. But number two, I want you to see, we have put this hitch on, and it's good because, or interesting, we have a couple options with the hitch on the Landcruiser. Number one, you can do what's called the receiver style hitch, which would go underneath here and connect to the actual frame underneath and not touch the bumper. But one of the cool things about the 80 series Landcruiser in the US, we get a metal full steel bumper, and there's 4 holes here designed for a hitch that's very common in the rest of the world. A lot of people do pinion style hitches or other style hitches mounted right here. This particular hitch is from Slee Off-Road, and it's kind of tricky because in the US, we have a little bit stringent requirements and ratings on hitches, and in the rest of the world, it's a little more of a ascendant attitude, especially in Australia where these things are popular. So because of that, they don't rate this particular hitch very high, despite it being a pretty heavy-duty, stout hitch. Also, this bumper is mounted directly to the frame, so I'm not too concerned with the rating of this. They don't want you to tow a lot with this sucker, but I'll tell you what, my intention for this is we're going to put bike racks. We're going to put maybe a utility trailer behind it and pull things every now and then. I doubt we'll do any type of overlanding style trailer, but we could. It's possible. It's definitely doable, and I think this could pull it no problem. You tell us what you think, but I think that thing looks pretty beefy. Now, let's get inside here. We've got a little work going on. What we're doing back here is we're working down here. You can probably see I've got a mess down here, but we've got right here, we are working on what's called the Birfs or Birfield CV axles. This is the inner part of it. This is the outside part of it. There's an inside part of it that goes in here. And we're rebuilding everything we've got going on. We've got a lot of seals and bearings, and we got a whole kit to replace all that. We got that from Cruiser Tech or Cruiser Outfitters online. They're highly recommended. But basically what we've got going on here with Toyota, they do this in their mini pickups and some other things. It's just an exposed CV. Usually this is much smaller, and it's in a rubberized boot you would see on an IFS front end. This is on a straight axle, and it's exposed because there's a big housing that goes around it, and that is right here. This is the big housing that goes around that. So what we've run into though is we've run into a little snafu, and we've got to do something a little different. But before I get to that, I want to show you what's stalling this rebuild is I want to show you a map of the universe, and that is if you're in the Toyota world, you know that there's a lot going on, and you need to know about it. So this is what we call the map of the universe. This is for the front end assembly or front axle. It's from Wits In. If you don't already if you don't already know about Wits In your Toyota world, you need to learn about them. That's Joey Romero. He's the dude that does all this. But he tells you exactly where you're at and what we're looking at and every part number in case you need it. This is the actual Birfield itself. That's the point I was just pointing at just a second ago. But let me show you what's going on and the problem we have right now. And that is down here with the actual CV itself. So this is the actual Birfield CV axle joint, and then this is the inner axle on the driver's side for this particular unit. We've got a couple of issues going on here, and that is this is the traditional Birfield. When somebody says a Birfield, that's what they're thinking of. And this is the ABS tone ring. This is the housing for it. We've got the ball bearings, we've got the race, and we've got the inner cage that they sit in. So when you turn, this keeps everything together, and it's not a problem. But what you start hearing when you know it's going out, you start hearing some clicking. And so we've got it out, we've wiped it down, we've cleaned all the grease off, but we've come across 2 problems. Because I planned on putting this back in. The rebuild kit does not come with a new one of these. If you can see here, it's kind of hard to tell, but there is a notch right there. It's actually worn out or rubbed out. That's one of the reasons we're getting some noise. And there you can see it as well. Maybe a little more noticeable there. That's one issue, so we know we need to replace this, which we're going to find a replacement for. The other issue we have is on the axle. This right here is where the axle seal sits. And you can see where it's shiny here, that's where it sits. Where it's not shiny is where it could go. You can kind of put it anywhere on this part of the axle shaft. Problem we have is this has worn such a groove. You can see it kind of catches. There's such a groove here. What's happened is that seal has worn down so much and has been blown out for so long. Who knows? Again, this sucker has 340,000 miles. It may have been a while since it's been replaced. I'm sure this has been replaced before. They say the factory Birfields, if you drive it normally, are good for 200,000 miles. Some say less, but I'm sure this has been replaced before. It's just been a while, and it wasn't maintained or serviced well because it was leaking like crazy. So we're gonna have to get a new axle shaft as well. Now, where does that leave us? That leaves us at, we gotta decide which ones to get. There's a lot of options in the aftermarket world. Some say stay Toyota OEM, some say upgrade it to a 4030 chromoly. Some say use these certain brands. Some say increase the splines on this so it gets stronger. All kinds of things and trade-offs depending on what you're trying to do. We're only running 33s here. We're not doing any serious hardcore off-road racing, crawling. So I don't know that we need to upgrade that much, but we'll see. We're gonna price several of them out, see what's best for our application for mostly, let's be honest, highway use, which is what mostly people use these things for, and the occasional off-road running just 33s. So I have a feeling we'll probably stay in that OEM equivalent range, but we'll have another episode soon letting you know what we chose and why, and see how the whole install goes when we're done. So in the meantime, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for all our socials. Check out Brian's Land Rover, the upgrades and the builds he's doing there, doing some cool stuff. He's done some action on that. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. And we'll have more for you for the Land Cruiser soon. Thanks for watching.
Whenever you're ready.